Welcome back to another episode of
Married
Married
in
in
real
Real
life.
Life. We are talking about blending of a family, the ups and downs, and everything in between. We are going to share it. So, Boo, we have covered how we met. We've covered baby mama drama,
Baby daddy drama.
baby daddy drama, and now we get to talk about moving on and blending our family and how challenging it was, but we did it. Um, I think for most couples, whether you're married or thinking about getting married, that's going to be one of the biggest challenges you face. No two parents
Parent the
parenting
same.
style is the same. So today I'm going to um, turn over the mic to you and get us started on how it was blending our
Well,
family.
it was a shock for Lil E because he was used to it just being me and him, or he, he being the only child, so he could get away with a little more stuff. Um, it, I wouldn't say it was hard. It was a little challenging, but I think it was pretty smooth for the most part. Like before me and you decided to get together, or when we was dating, me and Lil E, we had been doing different stuff on our own. He was in the car, so I take him to car shows and stuff like that. So when we got together, TJ was more into sports, so and I played sports back in the day, so that was easy to find a common ground to bond with him. With Misha, it was a little different. I just been around a boy, so I ain't never had no experience with a little girl. So I just came up with, I started to, just when I was cooking in the kitchen or, well, we used to take turns cooking, me and you. And when it was my turn, I try to incorporate all the kids, but Misha was there more than the boys was. So that started our time, just doing stuff in the kitchen. I would say when you was at work, oh no, you was when you went back to school too. I had to find something for all of us that allowed Lil E to get closer to TJ and Misha at the same time while everybody having fun. But as like I said, it was pretty smooth. The only thing that we had maybe a couple bumps was getting the kids to understand the new rules, as your rules, my rules merging together. Like you say, you just can't tell the kids we doing it like this and that's it.
Yeah.
After they've been doing something for
For
so
so long.
you got to explain it to them, first so they understand.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to reiterate
Right.
it, just to make sure everything goes smooth.
Yeah, everybody, like you said, everybody's parenting style is different. So kids are accustomed to their parents' parenting style. So outside of that, they don't know any different until you get in a situation like ours where we have blended a family, and then now we're gonna have to adjust. Everybody gonna have to adjust. It's an adjustment for all of us. We learned how to get along real well, and that we was not gonna have 3 or 4 sets of rules in our house. We're gonna all be on the same page. It's gonna be some adjustments, but we just gonna go on with it's adjustments for everybody, and we just going to have to adapt to the adjustments. But that's not the case for all couples. That was the case for us, and I feel like as a couple or as adults, that's if you have kids and y'all gonna be in the same household, it may be a good idea to sit down and have a long, hard
You
conversation.
can talk about it till we blue in the face, but then when you see it as a parent, you gotta
Yeah, let me walk away.
Yeah.
Let me walk away. So blending up a family is very challenging, but if you have a strong foundation, you definitely can make it through. It takes patience. Sometimes you gotta woo off.
And kids, the kids would be like, well, that ain't my mama, that ain't my dad.
Yeah.
They can't tell me
Yeah. Yeah.
That's up to the parents to squash all
Yeah.
that at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. So the key was communicating. And the other thing was one sound, one band.
Mm-hmm.
We are one team. Okay? We're gonna all hold each other accountable. Just like y'all expect certain things from us as parents, we expect certain things from you as our kids, whether you like it or agree with it or not. And so we had to kind of take that approach, because if not, we would have had a divided household, and we was not gonna have that.
No.
So we have to get it to where everybody is on the same page. We're gonna all work together as a team, whether you like it or not.
I think that worked well.
It worked well for them. Yeah, for all of us.
For all of us.
Yeah, it worked well for all of us, because you can't have two separate sets of rules in a household when you're blending a family. It's gonna be a problem. It's like we roommates instead of a family. Cause now I can't send it to your child because, well, he just gonna tell his daddy gonna change the rule. Or you can't send it to my kids because they gonna tell their mama and your mama gonna change
all
the
the rules apply to
yeah,
everybody.
all rules apply. So whatever adjustments we need to make it fair, those are the adjustments that we're gonna make. And it may not be what we are used to, but not all of this is new to all of us. So in order for it to work, we just gonna have to work it
I
together.
would have love for me and you, as well as your kids, fathers, my son, mother, for us to just, have a, as you say, have a meal or a meeting, and just conversate on what we expected out of the kids, and just so everybody would have been on the same page.
Just build a whole game plan for our kids, you know. But we that's neither here nor there. We didn't have that. We did not have that
cooperation.
Yeah. So we did the best we could with what we had, and it worked for us. Yeah. So we have to. I think again, if you get into a situation like that, if you are a couple and you're in a situation like that, communication is gonna be key. Because if you don't have no communication, you best believe it's gonna all crumble down on you fast, quick, and in a hurry.
And what we need to do as parents, I'm just saying, on a larger scale, if you're not in a relationship with your child's father or mother no more, that don't mean y'all can't get along for the kids' sake. Everything should be about the kids.
Yeah.
Once y'all separate.
Especially when you have a parent that is manipulating the situation. Because, kids gonna be children. So, yes, it does get frustrated. Listen, why we gotta keep going around in circles? But that's a child. That's a child being a child. And you expect those things from a child. And if it's new to you, it can be challenging to you. Because I'm gonna just admit it. It was very challenging for me. Because I had my kids to an understanding that I'm going to protect you no matter what. Okay, so if somebody's doing something wrong to you, you let me know and I'm gonna handle it. That's the relationship I had with my kids. So and even with their dad, I had to get him straight a few times. Hey, don't come in the back end trying to tell me when you just looking at it from outside the door. You don't know what I go through every day with these kids. So yeah, I appreciate you stepping in and adding your 2 cents. As their dad, you should be looking out for your kids. But you're not here facing the challenges that I face. It's easy for you to listen to them and then give your input, because you on the outside looking in. You're not here with me, so you don't know, right? So I felt like with Lil E and me, it was a lot more challenging because number one, his mama, and he's a child. It was frustrating, but his mama is like, I don't know, whatever she had for you. She just tried to make it hard for me in any way that she could. Because I feel like if your child is coming to you again, talking to you about anything that I did to him that he didn't like, as a woman, just like you said, you come to me. And I gave her more than enough opportunities to express whatever feeling she had. It was always, you don't have anything to do with it. You're not making any sense. It doesn't make no sense.
He live with you, but you don't have
exactly. I'm here with him. So you are phone parenting. I'm here on the job
every day.
Okay, I'm here for homework, wake up, go to school, lunch, dinner, breakfast. I'm here for all of that. I'm here for the attitudes. I'm here for all of that. You are on the outside trying to tell me what I should not be in, and that don't even make no sense. So I feel like the challenge, and it happens in a lot of households. A lot of well, for the sake of conversation, a lot of stepmoms have to deal with bitter baby mamas, and it makes it that much harder to do what you're supposed to do as a stepmom because you have that bitter baby mama in the ear of the child. So then the kid, they being kids, okay? You are the adult. They are only being kids. Every other weekend, I was like, oh my God. You're going to come back, and then we got to reprogram him all over again. And then by the time we get him back straight, it's time to go back to mama's house, and we're going to start all over again. Right? And, for however long she did her weekend visits. But that makes it hard. And that's the part I feel like that's the worst in situations where it's like that. For instance, we had this thing with no sodas, right? Now, Lil E felt like that was the worst thing in the world about them no sodas. I was just the world's worst because he didn't drink sodas. My kids just didn't drink sodas. I just didn't mind. But you allow Lil E to drink them. So then that was a conversation we had to have. How can we find a happy medium, right? Lil E goes to his mom's house. Of course, he got to tell her everything that he'd been through all week. Fair enough. What does she do? Instead of just saying, okay, well, when you are with me on the weekends, then you can drink sodas here. I can't tell your dad or Tamika to let you drink sodas or whatever. I don't control their house, but when you're with me, you can drink sodas with me. What does she do? Bring Lil E home with a whole case of sodas. Now, why would you do that? So then I take the sodas from him, or we take the sodas from him and say, well, the rule is we're going to drink sodas on the weekend, so you won't be able to drink them until next weekend. So then we the bad person. Those type of things happen. And that's very small, but those little things right there, it really be tearing you off.
But that was childish on her part.
Yeah. Very childish. But those are the things that happens in those situations that is unnecessary. Because then you try to make the parents that's doing what they're supposed to do like the bad parents. Because if I got to take it from you, now I'm the bad parent. I'm the mean one. But in all actuality, it was your mama being mean to you because she should have never did that. Because she put you in a situation that you shouldn't have been in.
And as a child, the child don't understand the dynamics that's going on and all that. No,
because if my mama give me some sodas and I come to your house, you take my sodas. Yeah, you mean I don't like you because you took my sodas. But that was the goal from the mama. Yeah. She knew better.
But it was small stuff like that we had to deal with.
Yeah.
That it just caused a little unnecessary dramas.
Yeah, but that's where good relationships between the adults come into play. Because you got to make room for that. If you don't make room for that, and when you blend the family, you already doomed from the start. You have to make room for growth in blending of families. And if you're not willing to go through the process, if your relationship can't handle the process, then it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And you can't allow kids are very smart, and you can't allow kids to tear the adults apart.
Because that's one of the first things that'll break a relationship up is the kids.
Yeah. Because your kid, that's your child.
Yeah. I'm more laid back. You was a little more high
strong. I'm high strong.
Yeah, so, and I think that's indicative of our parenting styles. Plus, I had one, you had two. And it made a little difference to me because Lil E was a boy. I'm a man, so I know exactly what he going through, what he thinking. But the same thing with TJ, but with Misha was a little different because she a little girl, she was a little girl. But it just was. I ain't gonna say it was challenging. It was. To me, it was kind of fun, getting to know the kids like that. But
and you honestly, I feel like I got to give you most of the credit for that though, because you spent more time with the kids because I was going to school and working. So you did that whole making sure they meshing and staying on top of stuff. You came in and did that. It allowed me to, go to school.
When you say you wanted to go to school, that's what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. And you did that. So I can give you most of the credit for that. Because I was, trying to go to school and go to work. But you was like, all right, I got it. Going on where you going. Me and the kids good. Going on.
Yeah, you was good and we was good. So we could all be good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, but I also am thankful for our relationship. Because without our relationship, Again, I was gone a lot. I was at school or at work, so I was going a lot. Used with the kids a lot. A lot of things could have transpired, um, but it didn't. You had them kids cool as you, right? So they was, yeah, oh Lord. So they yeah. But thank God for that. Thank God that you took the challenge head on and you rolled with the punches, kept them kids in line, and everything was smooth sailing. And if you know, and like I said, in a perfect world, the other parents would have been involved. They weren't involved, but even without their help, the kids did. They are awesome. Yeah. They turned out to be some awesome kids.
Awesome young adults.
Yes, they are. I keep saying kids because they're my kids, but they have turned out to be some, like you said, awesome young adults. They can tell you how thankful they are that they have the upbringing, because when you're a kid, you only see things through the lenses of a kid, and that's just factual. But as an adult, you know the challenges of life that your kids gonna have to face, and that's what you're supposed to do as an adult. You're supposed to raise your kids to prepare them for life, because they're not going to be with you for the rest of their life. They have to be ready for what life is going to throw at them, because life ain't gentle. But as far as blending up a family, our goal, number one, was to make sure that we were good. Then two, make sure that the kids understood that we were a team. We gonna all work together. Sometimes, we ain't gonna always agree, but we will figure it out, and we're gonna face it as it comes.
And now, if you ask our kids now about how they was disciplined growing up, it's funny listening to them talk.
Yeah.
But they appreciate it now. When they was going through it, they didn't appreciate it so much. But now they appreciate it.
Yeah, they appreciate it as they are going through life and seeing the challenges of life. It was our job to prepare you for that. It is a challenge. So any advice to, couples that are, thinking of blending their family, or, facing those challenges that we face, any advice to them?
I would say, first, you got to be open to new things. Just being a parent, make sure the adults in the situation, as you said, have great communication, because that's going to squash a whole lot of unnecessary drama with the adults talking or communicating. And just be open for the kids. Just be there to listen to them, because kids go through a whole lot of emotional. There's a whole lot of different things that they need their parents to help guide them through those different situations in life.
So my advice is pretty much the same. Number one, make sure that the adults communicate. Number two, you got to pack your patience. Teach your kids, we are a family, we are one unit. We're not going to work separately. It's going to be some days that you may not like it, may not go your way. Okay, the next day it may not go their way, but at the end of the day, we are one, and we're going to operate as one. We are not going to separate, and we're not going to let anybody come in between that. This is our house. We're going to run it as such, and we're going to work together, and we're going to get through it. And we did. Everybody made it through. Okay, whether they liked it or not, everybody made it through. And so you got to be willing to give and take, because it can't be one way when you are blending people together. It's almost like it's two separate people trying to come up with a good idea, come up with a plan for the bigger plan. And so, okay, what's the best way for us to accomplish this big plan, which is to become a blended family? And those adults that sat down and make that plan, incorporate the kids in it, because they are definitely a part of that plan. And once you do those things, I feel like everything else will kind of work itself out. And as you said so many times before, that as long as you have the relationship that you have with your spouse, fiance, boyfriend, whomever, girlfriend, whomever, as long as you have a solid foundation, you can work through a whole bunch of things. I think people miss that part of it. If you have a solid foundation and your relationship is good, you are going to be able to navigate through challenges. But if you don't have a solid foundation, It doesn't. The wind could blow and your relationship is over with. And you can't go in. The other parties, you can't go in. This is my child. You don't say that to my child. You get that a lot. Well, then, okay, that's your child. I'm out.
And you need to be by yourself.
Exactly. We don't need to be together. That's your child. I'm out. In the cases where the child's father is in the child's life, and that's a conversation that the man that you're with and that your baby's father need to have about how he go about disciplining his son, and that way again everybody on the same page. So those type of situations, it can be challenging, but it takes communications with all parties, because if you get it straight on the front end, you don't have a whole lot of issues on the back end. And I think we did a good job of that on day one. Okay.
And let me just say this. This might be an unpopular opinion for some people, but when you get married, the husband and the wife becomes one. So the kids follow. So essentially that's saying that I'm putting my wife before my kids, or I'm putting my husband before my kids. To me, that's the only way you're gonna have a successful marriage, with blending the family. Because if you try to do it any other way, then you get the, as you said, the I could do everything in the world for your kids, but then you come at me when I'm ready to discipline them, and you be like, don't touch my kids. So you just telling me that you don't want me to be there like I supposed to be. If I'm the father of the kids, the man of the house, I'm gonna discipline them just like I discipline mine. So I just think that just go, the marriage go first, then the kids and everything will flow after that.
Imagine building a home on an unsolid foundation. How long do you think the home is going to stand? It's not. You want to build that foundation first, because that's what's going to carry you through the challenges that's going to come. Because if you in any type of relationship, you're going to be challenged. If you are blending a family, that's going to be your biggest challenge, because that's your child. These are my kids, okay? So you know you ain't going to let nobody come in and do anything to your kids, so they closest to you. So anything, no matter who it is, when it comes to your kids, you always on alert about your kids. So that's natural. That's what the way you're supposed to be. But you can't be in a relationship with somebody or married to someone, and it's like you said, you can do everything. You can take my kids to sports. You can take them out to eat. You can buy them clothes. You can make sure we got a roof over our head. You helping with these bills in here, but don't say nothing to my child. Don't discipline my child. Just let him run, do her, do whatever they want. You don't say nothing. You can do all the other stuff, but that's why I draw the line in the sand. Well, you can't have it both ways, okay? Because if you want him to be in your child's life, it comes 100%. You don't pick and choose what parts he can and can't do, or she can and can't do. That comes with the territory. So if I got to be making sure your kid good all the time, but when it comes to me disciplining, I got to come to you and tell you what I saw him do and wait for you to discipline him. But I can do everything else. No, that ain't going to work. That's not going to work. And that happens a lot in relationships. Again, marriage first. Everything else will fall in line when you put your marriage first. When you ain't on one accord and everybody doing their own thing, that's when you got problems. It's easy. It's easy to pick you apart, because y'all don't have a solid foundation anyway. I'm going to pick you apart. And kids will do it. Kids will pick adults apart. And it's crazy to me that you allow kids to pick you apart, because you should know that's a child. It's easy when you don't have that strong foundation. Kids will come right on in and pick you apart, and you go on to the next person, they pick y'all apart too. Yeah. So kids are very smart. We don't give them the credit. They are very smart. But as an adult, you should be smart.
Yeah, and you should know better.
And you should know better.
As we stated earlier, the parents, whether it be the fathers get together, the mothers get together, they conversations that need to be had. It ain't like you against me and I'm gonna do this for the kid and try to outdo you. No, we working together for the benefit of the kid. Take your feelings out of it. The kids here now, so we just gonna raise these kids the best we can.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah. No doubt, but that's how it should be. But that's not how it always.
Yeah,
we know that's not how it was, especially with your baby mama.
But and Lil he was smart. He was smart. as far as he was smart, all the kids were smart, but I'm talking about as far as just trying to manipulate different situations. Excuse me, because it was a couple times I wanted to jack him up myself and treat him like he was a grown man just because some of the moves he was making. But I had to have a conversation with myself and remind myself, look, this just a child. He just doing what a child do. So let me woo-saw, get myself together. Then we gonna have a conversation, and then we gonna squash all the little stuff that was going on.
Yeah, but he's a kid being a kid.
Yeah.
And my thing with your baby mama was it wasn't even about. Look, he could have went over there and said Tamika took my sucker from me, and she would have made a big deal about it because it wasn't even about the sucker. It wasn't even about Louis.
It was about
the few times you did pick him up and drop him off. If you need to talk to me,
he was there.
I was right there. You was right at my address. We could have had a conversation like two grown women. Outside of already having to blend the family, you have that right there. Then when you have parents the absent parents that are for whatever reason trying to aggravate the situation, manipulate the situation, and using the kids instead of trying to make it easier for everybody, it makes it much more challenging. And I feel like that was the case with that. So I feel like, Lil E was a kid and he did some things that he knew better about because he's very smart. Always has been. But I also feel like some things you need to shut down as an adult. We're not doing this. We're going to have a conversation. And even so how you do it is, when Louis comes to you, even if it meant we had that one conversation and he came back to you continuously with something I said that he didn't like, at a certain point when you are dropping Louis out, we all going to have a conversation so we can all get on the same page. Now, Louis, you tell me, what is it that Tamika did that you didn't, XYZ didn't like? Or in my case with you and my kids, their dad. Okay, well, we all can sit here. Let's talk about it. What happened that you didn't like that Eric did? Kids are very smart. But I feel like as an adult, you should be much more aware and you should be, instead of trying to fuel things with your kids, you should be trying to make it as peaceful as possible for your kids. And then that comes with communicating with all adults. And that makes it easier. So those challenges, I know a lot of people, I know we weren't the only one. You hear all the time, people trying to blend the family. The baby mama don't act right, baby dad don't act right. Then you got a whole bunch of stuff going on with the kids. And then it causes disruption in the marriage. If you don't have that solid foundation, nobody's communicating, it's going to tear your marriage to shreds. Really, it is. So,
but let me say this. I just want to thank you for being there for Lil E, because you taught him things that I couldn't teach him as a mother.
Thank you.
Like I said, I grew up without a father, but me becoming a man, you just see certain things and how you want to raise your kids. So I just try to live up to my own expectations of a father. And as far as a mother, I couldn't have asked for a better mother figure in his life than you.
Thank you.
I mean it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But
and I'm sure if he was here, he'd say the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because he said we were talking recently, and you know how I was about how they was dressing. And he got his own family there. He said to me, you ain't got to worry about it. She keeps me straight. She dressed me.
You want to look at your mate like, is this the man or is this the woman I want? Teach my son or daughter how to become a man or a woman.
Right. As hard as the conversation may be, those tough conversations have to be had. And that's what keeps everything going, running smooth. You got to do that maintenance. And that's those talks that you may not like to have, but those are maintenance in order to keep your train running smooth and going. So I had a good conversation with you today, boo.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and we did that. All right. So, okay, you guys. Well, thank you for joining this episode of Married in Real Life.